Life has been an interesting journey, and my experiences have taught me to cherish health and to define wealth in a more meaningful way. My faith in God and the inspiration of my parents have guided me to achieve success through a balanced lifestyle. My name is Ray Carter Jr., and this is my personal story of achievement.
Everyone is entitled to realize their full potential, but most of the time what stands in the way is poor health or poor finance. By discovering what is literally the natural renewal and repair system of the body and discovering natural compounds that can support this natural repair system, my aim is to help restore people's health so everyone is then free to pursue their dream and reach their full potential. I'm Christian Drapeau, and this is my debut appearance on Balance.
We recently had the opportunity to meet with Ray Carter Jr., who is the CEO of Stemtech International, one of the most distinguished companies on the West Coast. Along with incredible passion for his profession, as well as his desire to succeed, Ray helps people find balance in virtually all aspects of life. Tell us, what is it that you do for a living, who you help, and how you help them?
Well, I'm the co-founder, president, and CEO of a company called Stemtech International. And in one line, what we do is we spread wellness and prosperity around the world. We've created and we've actually pioneered a brand new line of nutritional supplements called Stem Cell Nutrition.
Wow, you spread wellness and wealth throughout the world. That's huge. How do you do that?
Well, through our business model, we're a direct selling company, and so we have independent sales reps all over the world that help us spread the word about our brand new category of supplements, stem cell nutrition. So, and our independent representatives have a real passion for what they're doing out there. A lot of them were very receptive to trying this new supplement technology and have had great results with it. And again, now they're helping us spread the word because stem cell nutrition is really a novel thing in the marketplace.
How did you get into this stem cells and this supplement?
Well, it's definitely been a progression. I've been in the direct selling industry over 20 years, and a large part of that has been dealing with and marketing nutritional supplements. And so when I heard about 7 years ago now about this new technology and supplements that dealt with supporting your body's natural renewal system, which is your adult stem cells, I was very captivated by it. And so I immediately embraced it and realized it was going to be a challenging startup opportunity. But today, very happy that we pursued that.
Christian Drapeau is an advanced research scientist who serves as the Chief Scientist Officer for Stemtech. Though he accomplishes many fascinating things in any given day, Christian has always enjoyed uncovering the inner qualities of plant-based foods and nutrients. He now employs his vast scientific knowledge to enhance human health and capabilities by pushing the boundaries of the medical science behind stem cells.
Christian, before I came here, I actually did some research on you, and not only that, you're a great business guy too. I hear that, you are the guy that may be up for a Nobel Prize. That's powerful. Tell me, what is stem cells all about?
Well, what we have discovered is called to change the way that I believe that we look at medicine. So I'll let my peers to decide if it's for the Nobel Prize, and I'm probably too young for it right now. But when we talk stem cells, what we need to understand is that contrary to every single cell of the body called somatic cells that will always be what they are, a heart cell will always be a heart cell, a brain cell will always be a brain cell, and will only do what a brain cell does. A stem cell is a cell that has the ability to multiply during the entire life of an individual and to transform into any kind of cell types of the body. It's sort of the master cell of the body.
Now, everybody hears a little bit about stem cells. They're not too sure about it, but you had a lot of scrutiny of people outside companies or even the government probably looking into saying, is this guy real? What's going on with it? Is that true? Or?
Of course. This is such a novel concept. Just the basics of it. Still in med school today, we still teach that stem cells from the bone marrow, their role is to become blood cells. And that's essentially what they do. So to say that stem cells from the bone marrow could become other types of cells just that to begin with is extremely provocative. Now today it's well accepted, but when we started all of this, 6, 7, 8 years ago, yeah, we got criticized a lot. Today I think that we've been vindicated. It's sort of recognized what stem cells do. And about a year ago we did get the scrutiny by a public agency who kind of looked and came and said, you cannot make these kinds of claims because, of course stem cells cannot become cells of other tissues and your product cannot have an effect on stem cells. And so they basically said we had to stop making these claims, and we responded by providing all the science that we had. And it was an interesting experience because at the end of the day they basically had to come to the conclusion that we had all the science to back up the claims that we're making. And so we basically passed the test with flying colors.
Wow, that's great.
Why are you so passionate about wellness?
Well, I've been involved and passionate about health my whole life. Probably starts from being an athlete. I was in sports from Little League on up through high school. I was all-state soccer player, all-state baseball. Went to college on a baseball scholarship. So I always knew that health was important to compete at the highest levels in sports. And so I think that was the beginning of my passion for health.
What is it like to go out in the world, travel the world, promoting your product?
The travel internationally is not as glamorous as everyone thinks it is.
Okay.
For those of us who travel, they know very well that it's very tiring. But in the different time zones, I think the great thing is being able to get out there and represent not only the company but the United States to the world, and being very culturally sensitive. I've seen a lot of companies in the past from the U.S. go into different markets. They speak English. They don't necessarily care much about the local cultures. We're different that way. We go in and very respectful of the local culture. One of the things I do when we go into a new market that speaks a different language is I actually learn some of the language. And so I'll get a tutor and put together a 3 to 5 minute talk in the local language to do a greeting out of respect for the local culture. And so that's just one of the ways we show that we're respectful in going into these other countries. So it's great, very gratifying to do that and see the reception that you get, because the people really appreciate. I'm up to 10 languages now.
Wow.
And the company as a whole, we're in 22 countries on 6 continents, so we really have had a great chance to see a lot of the world, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. We have a lot to go.
For us, we shouldn't probably wait until disease is already happening in our body. We should probably have that prevention, and that's what it seems like you're all about, is helping people with prevention. Is that correct?
That's what we forget too often. Everybody knows. There's nothing new in this. We forget it. Disease never happened on the day that you have the diagnosis.
Yes.
We're climbing stairs 10 years ago 3 by 3, 5 years ago 2 by 2, 2 years ago 1 by 1, a year ago 1 by 1 slowly, 6 months ago 1 by 1 slowly. I stop in the middle to catch my breath, then I get a heart attack. It didn't start on the day. My heart problems didn't start on the day of the heart attack. Everything is a slow decline. And what we realize is that it declines because of a decline in our ability to repair day to day.
Wow.
So if you support the natural ability of the body to repair, you basically give that ability of the body to maintain its health. So it's really, we're not talking even about disease prevention. What we're talking about is health maintenance.
Wow.
It's a whole new concept, really backed by strong science.
So expanding all over the world in the middle of the recession in the United States, that sounds challenging. Can you tell us more if there's any challenges that you encountered along the way?
Well, when we first started the business, we didn't have a very large budget. We, as most startup companies, entrepreneurs know that very scarce resources, and so we actually had to piggyback on one of our suppliers' business operations. So we used their offices, used their warehouses, and we went from a concept of our business to opening our doors within 90 days. And our very first month in business, we did almost $1 million US in sales. So that's a high-class problem, I call it. It was definitely a challenge, though, because we were breaking out from the seams. Didn't have enough employees to handle everything. So that first 6 months of business was exhilarating because of the reception we received in the marketplace. But at the same time, it's very challenging to kind of keep a handle on it and continue to fulfill the products, keep it in inventory, have proper customer service, all that high-class problem, as I say, from the startup phase. And then, of course, you know, when the recession hit in 2008, you know, the worst global recession in history, as I said, we're very fortunate to have expanded our horizons and had other markets in the world help keep our cash flows going nicely while the U.S. market was starting to suffer. And we're still hopeful that the U.S. market is going to start moving up here in the very near future. We're already seeing signs of it.
Now this show is all about health and wealth. I mean, what's your concept on health and wealth?
If I answer this question by, you know, from the angle of the work that we have done, we see health by, generally speaking, by protecting ourselves from the outside world, free radicals, you know, and we need to eat a lot of it, consume a lot of antioxidants. We need all the vitamins and the minerals that the body needs, and all of that remains true. But what we have discovered is that we are born with a natural system of repair. Every day of our life, we lose cells, we replace them every day of our life. And by discovering this for the first time in our history, we now have a way of not only preventing things from happening, we have now a way of supporting the body in its own natural ability to stay healthy. So in that way, we're really bringing another dimension to health. And we sort of distribute the products, we do business through a business model that essentially does not bring all the income into our pockets. We actually spread it, you know. So it's an approach of health to wealth where we can reach the maximum health and share it with as many people as possible.
So the big question, what's more important to you, health or wealth?
I mean, it's interesting because I think that in life, everybody is entitled to the full realization of their potential. The problem is that most people don't do it because of health obstacles or wealth obstacles. So it's both. It's
both?
Really
you
both.
Can't give one?
I think it's both.
It's both.
I think it's both. And you know, if you don't have wealth and you get health problems, sometimes you can't resolve them. And if you don't have health, then sometimes you have a real obstacles to freely develop your potential to acquire wealth. So I see them as equal. What we try to do with our company is bring both to people.
Wow.
Wealth and health, you got both. What do you think is more important?
Boy, you know, if I had to choose between the two, it would be health. It definitely would be health, and it's all how you define wealth. You know, if you want to define it as just purely financial gain, you know, I could live off loving coconuts. You know, I don't really need money or material things, but it's what that wealth can do for you. You know, and with Stemtech, one of the reasons we want to continue to grow the company and make the company prosper is, again, not only to spread the wellness and prosperity around the world, but the funds that the company receives, we want to then use to give to charities, etc. So, you know, my legacy is not going to be one of having $100 million in the bank. It's going to be one of, you know, when it's all over, he donated his money to charity. You know, so it's wellness is a great thing. Wealth is, in my view, the definition of wealth is how many people you can help out there, and you become more wealthy by helping more people.
If I threw out the word struggle, tell me a couple struggles that you had in life that you had to really, you know, maybe like you said, I think you said somewhere you lived in a tent. What was that about? Was that struggling, or were you liking it?
No, it was not struggling. It was. I think it was more of an experience of, you know, living. When I lived in the monastery in the south of France, I lived with literally a pair of shoes, a pair of jeans, and 2 T-shirts, and that's all that I had. It was the most peaceful part of my life. So I realized oftentimes how goods and wealth can become the biggest trap as well, you know, to joy and fulfillment. So it was more an adventure of going into living, you know, as simple as could be.
Would you say you're a workaholic?
Boy, you know, I used to be a workaholic, and I guess it's kind of necessitated when you first start a new business. It's, you know, again, 24/7. You don't have the staff you need, so you have to wear 12 different hats. But again, it's still important. Even when it was like that, I was still getting to the gym, even though I was exhausted, or reading, or praying, doing different things to try to, you know, keep the stress off. But yeah, I think I'm driven, and so. But today I would not say I'm a workaholic. I think I'm much more balanced.
So how did you overcome that? How did you get from workaholic to balance?
Well, getting married does that to you, number one. So I think that's an important part of it. But even before then, you know, at some point with me, I think the aha moment was to I really surrendered more to God's will. You know, I'm very spiritual that way. And early on in my career, I was focused more on the money. You know, success was making a lot of money. And then I had a kind of my own personal paradigm shift saying, you know what, the focus needs to be on helping other people. And when you do that, you know, and you have a purpose-filled life, the prosperity will automatically follow you.
It sounds like you went to the monastery, living in a tent, you released all that wealth, but now you're living a lifestyle that you do have the true wealth in your life. You know, what's the difference between that?
You know, I think that all throughout my life, one thing that I have learned is that because of our ideas, because of what we want, I think we stepped in the way and stand in the way of what could flow so easily if we just accepted the opportunities that show up. We just complicate our lives with all of our wants and our ideas. So what I've learned of true wealth is just step out of the way, just be truthful, be harmonious, and try to really be as honest as you can be in your day-to-day life. The rest flows from it. And to me, true wealth is really at that level. The financial wealth comes out of it, naturally. And it's oftentimes because we stand in the way of it because of how we would like life to be.
So let's talk about, you know, you are helping other people become healthier, both financially and physically. How about you? How do you stay healthy?
Well, first I take our products. I was the first guinea pig way back when we were testing it 7, 8 years ago, and so I swear by the products that we sell in the marketplace. And as I said earlier, I'm an athlete, so my whole life I've played sports, so I continue to try to do things to stay active. You know, I jog, I swim, I hike with my wife and baby girl and my dog. And so, you know, it's that balance is difficult in business, especially when you're an entrepreneur. The first few years when we got started, it was 24/7. And fortunately at that time I was single, so I could balance it a little bit better. More recently, in the last couple of years, I've gotten married, have a baby girl now. So now the challenge of balance is a little bit more difficult. But again, I think it's important to, you know, to have quality time and spend time with the family, of course, as #1 priority, but also to have a little bit of that alone time to get out there and do things from a health standpoint, exercise, go to the gym. I've got a great massage therapist, which is crucial, you know, to de-stress me. But I think all these things are very helpful.
Is there any particular exercises that you love to do to stay healthy?
Oh yeah, there are many, but a lot of them, there's not enough time to do them. You know, again, I'd love to be able to go play on a soccer team or a baseball team again, but it just takes way too much time with my schedule. So I try to do things that are time efficient and also some of my favorites. So, you know, I have a swimming pool in the backyard, so that's easy to go jump in the pool and get great exercise there. Or, you know, just jogging around the block, hiking up in the hills behind the house. So those are some of the more favorite things to do that are very time efficient.
Yeah, time efficient and fun.
Yeah, exactly.
So how about with health? Have you always been a healthy guy? Were you in sports as a kid, or?
I'm born with this other thing. You know, I have a pretty strong health, so I've never really struggled with health challenges. I've done sports all my life in my youth, and that's how I started to study a little bit, you know, what the mind can do. I was a North American champion in Taekwondo, but when the North American Games came when I was 15, I was pretty young.
Are you still practicing now? And I hear you got pretty good at it?
Well, I was pretty good at it at the times, and I didn't do it for a long time. And about a year ago, I realized, you know, I'm not doing enough exercise. My biggest exercise was to run between 2 gates at the airport. So I decided I need to do something. So there's a school that just opened nearby my house, and I stepped there one day, and I started to do it again. And he's the best teacher I've ever had, and so that's my thing right now. I really enjoy whenever I can go back.
There's really a great sense of balance here. So tell us, what is your secret behind this?
Oh geez, I'm not sure there's a secret. You know, the success of the company, beyond the fact that we've got this one-of-a-kind unique technology that we pioneered, and I think beyond the fact that we were smart enough to go global really early on in our business cycle, those things were definitely big parts of our success. I think overall our success really lies in the mission of the company. And again, that mission is to spread wellness and prosperity around the world. And so when you have a mission that's focused on serving people and helping people, I think that's the secret to success.
And you talk about mission. Can you share with us, what is your big vision for the company?
Well, we've already, over the last 7 years, the promise of stem cells has really come to fruition because we've seen the results of our stem cell nutrition products around the world in many countries. And I think the big picture is to really just spread the word further. And we've impacted over 100,000 people to date. And we want to impact millions and millions of lives around the world through our nutritional products and also through our charitable giving. We have a nonprofit arm of the company as well that gives to charities around the world that deal with children, animals, and the environment. And so we want to continue to be a success as a company so that we can give back more through the charitable givings as well.
Wow. Can you tell us more about that, charitable organization?
Sure. Yeah, it's called the Stemtech Global Foundation, and really, right out of the gate, our first day in business, we started identifying charities that we wanted to support. It's just part of our corporate culture. And then a couple of years into it, it's very expensive to set up a nonprofit organization. So within a couple of years, we formalized that charitable giving to allow more people to participate and get tax deductions for helping us with our charitable support around the world. And again, as I said, we focus on children, animals, and the environment. We have, for instance, an AIDS orphanage in South Africa that we support. As many people know, South Africa's got the highest incidence of AIDS in the whole world. In Nairobi, Kenya, we support an elephant orphanage of these orphan elephants whose parents get killed from poachers wanting their ivory. And we do that same thing in most markets that we enter. We try to first identify a charity we can work with so that we're giving back to the community before we even start reaping financial benefits from it.
Christian, being the partner and a scientist in this company, I see that you guys are doing some great things, but I also found out that you guys are giving back and really giving back too. Tell me about this woman that has like 150 kids, and how are you guys giving back to this? This is incredible.
Yeah, every countries where we have distribution, we find charities or nonprofit organization to give back. But this place, specifically for me in Thailand, is a place where some of our distributors in Malaysia send products to this children's home because some of the kids had some health challenges. They saw great results. They talked to me about it. So one day I was there. All my meetings cleared up in Bangkok, and I called them, asked them where that was. It was a 6-hour drive in a cab. I hired a cab and we did the 6-hour drive. And I just discovered a small community. I mean, this is a woman 20 years ago after some conflict in Burma. She moved there to help the refugees, and she found an abandoned child. She took the child, and she found a second one, then a third one, then a fourth one, and today she has 150. Being refugees, they're sometimes discriminated against in school, so she created her own school for the children.
Yeah.
And so really what I saw there, I saw a community with a woman practicing total unconditional love, and she's a modern day Mother Teresa. So I look at what was happening there, and we decided to really do what it takes to really help this community to be self-sustainable, because they're still dependent on donations, and it's rough. For 20 years it's been rough, and now it's rougher than ever. So we're working with them, and we have some really neat projects.
This is not a small team. I mean, you have a big team here. You have your marketing and sales, and I met all these different accountants. So this is a big, lots of people. So how could people put the right team together? I mean, that's really a challenge, is getting the right people on the bus and heading the right direction. How do you guys do that?
Well, I think it's the challenge for any company. Finding the right team is a long-term process, and it's adjusting. It's ever growing. So it's one part of the challenge. I think the other side of the challenge, which is one thing that I personally try to instill a lot in the team, is really to try to pull out of everybody the enjoyment of what they do, the inspiration in what they do, so that they really own what they do. And it's through that effort that we really get, I think, the teamwork, the team effort that we have here.
Yeah.
So you shared with me that your relationship with your work changed when you got married. And a lot of people are struggling with setting boundaries between work and their family life. Can you give us advice on how you do that?
The advice I'd give is, number one of the things I do, I have an 11-month-old baby girl. I get up in the morning with her and play with her in the morning and change her diaper and go sit her in her high chair and have breakfast with her in the morning and let my wife get a little bit of rest while we're doing that, so we can have some bonding time there. And I make sure that the boundaries at work are, I used to work 24/7. I'd be at the office till 9, 10, 11 at night. When we first started, I was there till 2 in the morning. So I say, you know what, I'm drawing the line. I need to be home before 7, and my wife holds me to it. And so I can spend quality time during the week with my family. Also, if you can incorporate your family into your business at all, I'd really recommend that. When I travel internationally, it's very difficult. The family is home, and so we just got our little girl her first passport, and so we're going to start letting my wife and child travel with us to different countries around the world, so that, again, you can spend that time while you're working.
And Christian, you seem like a really smart guy. Now, being smart, did that get you like where you're at now?
It's interesting that you say that, because, I bought into the whole Western concept, I think, therefore I am. So I just thought, if you're smart in life, you're it.
Yeah.
The summum of life is to be smart and be recognized as being smart. So I did most of my life, I would say until my mid-30s, thinking that if I'm smart and I all do it on my own, and I can prove to everybody that I did it on my own, then really everybody will recognize it. And obviously I had to realize it just doesn't work that way. And it was a very slow process for me to learn that really the true power in life is team working, team effort. If you really work with a team, first, you cannot make it alone. Biggest illusion in the world.
Yes.
We always make it as a team. And if you are not, you don't position yourself as the smart one in the team, but you really bring out of everybody else what inspires them. You bring out their juice. That's when the team is the strongest.
Let's take a good look at the 6 benefits of maintaining proper nutrition. For number 1, keep in mind that when you're taking in the same amount of calories as you're burning, you're basically maintaining your weight in a very stable way. The chances of gaining weight are significantly decreased when you're on a very proper diet. For number 2, keep in mind that good nutrition really provides for the rejuvenation and the growing of all your cells in your body. This is evident by the fact that kids who are on a proper diet really grow much faster and they grow much healthier than kids who are not. For number 3, keep in mind that a proper diet with a healthy nutrition really helps keep your energy levels the same all throughout the day. Fruits and vegetables really metabolize relatively slowly, and what this does is that it allows for a very stable rate of metabolism. For number 4, remember that bones really provide a physical framework and structure for the human body. When you eat foods with lots of calcium in it, this helps out the bones because bones really store calcium in the long run. For number 5, some foods have actually been linked to pain relief. So eating foods with nutrients that have been known to relieve pain is definitely a good thing. This really helps lead a beneficial and balanced lifestyle, because at the end of the day, everyone's goal really is to live a pain-free life. And finally, for number 6, keep in mind that eating a diet with proper nutrition really helps boost your immune system. So with all these 6 tips combined, we can say that by extension, eating a healthy diet with proper nutrition really helps you to achieve wealth, health, and a balanced lifestyle.